Hello and welcome to Gag of the Millennial.
A show where we talk about pop culture, current events.
And spill the hot Darjeeling right into your lap.
Oh, scoldy woldy.
Oh my god,
back to front.
I know.
I was a bit spooked.
We're just keeping it fresh here on Gag of the Millennial.
Why not? Yeah, fresh like rotten milk.
Fresh like rotten milk.
Cheese.
Hi guys. So, welcome back to a brand new podcast episode.
Hello. It's been ages.
It's been
far too long.
Although videos have still been coming out, we pre-film everything in like one day, and then there's months later. So it's been a while since we filmed. So welcome back, Luxeria.
Thank you. We've both been doing big lady things in the world.
Yeah, we have. Yeah.
That makes no sense, but
no,
yeah.
it doesn't. So
Yes.
today, guys, we have
Juicy.
another little treat, and this was highly recommended for us to do.
Yes.
Now, as you really loved the "Am I the Asshole" Reddit we went through.
Let's not go there.
I
shall
know we are gonna do a part 2 of that, but.
Yes.
Today, we wanted to go through another subreddit called Entitled Parents.
Even that phrase
Awful,
like sends
isn't it?
like angry shivers right up the gusset.
Oh, my
hello.
laptop. If you could hear that, my laptop went,
She was
hello.
like, hello. I think of entitled. I agree.
So, yes, today we're going to go through the Reddit Entitled Parents, read some
Yes,
stories,
yes.
maybe share some of our own, and if we can relate. It's going to be a lot. I don't want to talk too much about it before because it's going to be a lot. So,
Yeah.
should we just get on with it?
Yeah, let's
just
get on
straight
with it.
onto
Let's
it.
get on.
Ooh. So, this story is called Entitled Mum Brings Her 4 Kids to an Adult-Only Wedding.
Okay, all right, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I rolled so hard then she saw her own spine.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, my eyes fell out. Yeah.
I attended an adult-only wedding for a co-worker a few days ago. The actual ceremony was in a very small church, mostly only had family and close friends, but the reception itself was roughly around 250 people.
I don't even know.
First of all, yeah, how do you do that many people? That is
Oh.
shocking. The reception was at a very elegant hotel ballroom, not child-friendly in any way. Crystal stemware, expensive linens on the table, etc. About 1.5 hours into the reception, a commotion started that made everyone stare. Entitled Mum is arguing with the wedding planner very loudly. Me being the nosy broad that I am, relatable.
Yeah, be like, what's going on over there? Studying my goggles, my little glasses.
Me being the nosy board I am, went closer to hear better. Turns out Entitled Mum brought her 4 young children to the reception, even though the invitation clearly stated it's adults only. The Entitled Mum insisted that her kids, I'm guessing at ages where the oldest was about 8, the youngest was about 2, were super well behaved, so it was fine. Now keep in mind, this was around 7:30 p.m. Wedding planner was having none of it. She insisted that the children were not allowed in and she had to leave. In the last-ditch effort to get admitted, Entitled Mum shouts out to the bride. The bride went over and listened to her for a moment and then said sternly but in a sweet voice, "Of course you can come in, Entitled Mum, but your children cannot." She turned around on her heel and went back to her husband. Entitled Mum flipped her nut, yelling about how she was invited and couldn't find a babysitter. 3 of the groomsmen escorted her out and the kids out the door too. Can I just say one thing? I am totally sympathetic. Like, if you have a child and you have something planned and the babysitter cancels or something, yes, it's really awful. However, you chose to have 4 children.
Yeah.
And I am the kind of, like, my sister has 2 kids. I love them and I adore them. And like sometimes they've come over here, it's fine. But if you say I'm hosting a party and there's drinking, alcohol, there's probably gonna be like swearing, loud things and stuff. Now, my sister would never do this. But say my sister said to me, can I leave, my babysitter's cancelled, I'm gonna come to the party still, but I'm gonna bring my kids. I'd be like, no, unfortunately, you have to stay at home.
It's not appropriate for
you
them.
have to just accept that when you have children, your life is going to change forever.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, until they're old enough to fend for themselves, you cannot then put your kids on other people because they didn't choose to have children.
You can't have your wedding cake and eat it, my lovely
Exactly.
Alice.
Like, you have to accept that this is going to be part of your life. And if the event says adults only, you can't be like, oh, well, I'm going to bring my kids because I couldn't find a babysitter. Unfortunately, you just have to accept that you just can't go then.
Well, this is exactly it. But also, in any other situation where this happen, you have a bride, what are they called? Bridal plastic.
Bridal
No,
plastic.
what they're bride do's. Hen do?
Yeah.
If you have a hen do and you're like, come along to the hen do, we're going to get drunk and watch strippers. You wouldn't be like, can I bring my 4 children?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it's adults only.
Yeah.
So adults only means, 18 and about maybe 16, I guess, maybe for weddings. Because like a 16-year-old might be a bit more sensible.
Yeah.
But you don't just
A
bring like...
2-year-old. So 4 children between 2 and 8 years old.
But also 7:30. Weddings and receptions and parties notoriously go on for a long time.
Yes.
It's like when it comes to like 9:30 and they're screaming because
But
they're
and also-
exhausted.
And also, what you got to think of is like,
Are you going to get drunk as
is
well?
is this mum gonna get drunk and drink and party and stuff? Who's looking after her children?
Yeah.
She's gonna be like, oh hello, girl, look at my
no.
nipples. Like,
Yeah.
is she really gonna be looking after like 4 children on
No.
her own in that environment when the kids are probably gonna be like tired and getting antsy? And like, it's absolutely not acceptable. Your turn.
My son, girl.
Found you. My turn. Oh, go ahead.
So this one is called How I Came Out to My Entitled Dad. I thought
God,
this was very
okay.
appropriate. Things, LGBTQ.
Yeah, I'm straight.
Oh.
Super straight.
Oh, the turfs. All right, so it begins with, my entitled dad is a hardcore conservative and hardcore Christian.
Oh, that always does a wonderful way of starting a sentence.
Doesn't it? Doesn't it just say equality and diversity for all,
Gout.
doesn't it? Oh, beat the woman. I'm very much neither of these things. He invited me over to family dinner on Sunday night, and I was hesitant to go, being it was just 2 days before the election. I think we all know which election
dear.
that was. I decided to put aside politics in favour of family and love, and opted to avoid all topics around the subject during dinner, knowing that it was an emotional and incendiary subject for all of us.
That's a nice one. Incendiary.
It is, isn't it? It's like, set it on fire, sis. Dad, however, did not. He couldn't resist and started talking about the Trump rally he attended. I sighed and let it pass. At the end of the evening, I also received a heavy guilt trip about why I don't come over to their house very often. Isn't this always the case? In every story, it's the same.
It's always the parents
Why
going,
don't you come and visit me? It's because you're going to burn me on the lawn.
Yeah, it's like you
Sarah.
hate me. Like you are a bigot.
The next morning, I texted him. I tried to be honest and told him the reason I don't come over very often is because we couldn't avoid talking about politics, despite him knowing how much it bothered me. He responded back by saying, I will not be muffled in my own house. Give it a rest. He said the decision to avoid the subject or avoiding seeing him was mine. I guess your sister will tell you when I've died. What a hateful thing to say to your child.
Awful.
Yeah. Muffled, I was enraged, thinking of all the things I've hid about myself for 40 years, afraid of encountering his rage and his religion.
Wait.
They're 40.
I thought it was like this was a
17,
like a teenager or something who like left home early because it's been like too much for them.
Oh, it's hateful, isn't it? Okay, so this person is 40 and still dealing with this. I'd had enough. I decided to shoot him a text. I read that as I decided to shoot him. Yeah. A text with a long list of the things I've kept muffled about myself from him my entire life. Bisexual, polyamorous relationship, medical marijuana smoker, Wiccan, had an abortion. My boyfriend I've dated for 8 years, dad disapproves. I told him I've muffled more about myself than I've ever showed him, to the point of I don't even know how to talk to him anymore for all the topics I've got to avoid. That's really sad.
That's really sad.
After dropping all these bombshells in a single text, I never heard back from him. That's so sad. So sad. Imagine.
It just shows that some people shouldn't be parents.
They shouldn't be.
Like,
if you're having a child, you can't just be like, I want this child to be exactly what I want it to be, and if it deviates in any such way, I'm going to burn it. Like, that's just insane.
That's the real thing, is that your child has their own life and they're going to have their own life as they grow up. This idea that like you can mold your child to be like a clone of you is absolutely ludicrous.
Oh, it's abhorrent. Absolutely abhorrent. How much sadness do people carry from their childhoods into adulthood because a parent has either said something to them? I mean, that's quite a lot. I even know people who have struggled and they haven't experienced anywhere near that amount of stuff, and they're still like, I just can't talk to my family about that. And then the audacity for me comes from when they're like, why don't you come and see us? It's like, do you only want to see me to argue with me?
Yeah,
is that all you want to do?
It was a bit like in the Am of the Arthur one, the one who were like the kid who saw his parents and they made
buy a house.
You're gonna buy a house for me, although they hadn't spoken to him for years and years.
It's
all of a sudden, like, we're gonna come back and you're gonna buy us a house. That was the intermission.
Oh, I love that.
This one is called, my daughter invited her 8-year-old friend to swim at our new pool, and the friend brings her toddler sister along with a swimsuit on.
Oh my God.
Imagine sending out an 8-year-old
with a toddler to go to a swimming pool. Unhinged.
Okay.
Unhinged.
So we just bought one of those above the ground pools you set up yourself. That is 4 feet deep and 14 inches, 14 inches around. It's just like one little, it's like a
bin.
I don't know why it's an inch. It's like a little bin. Right, let me do it again. We just got one of those above the ground pools you set up yourself. It's 4 feet deep and 14 feet around. We spent the majority of 2 days prepping the pool, filling it and letting it get to the right temperature. Finally, yesterday it was ready and my daughter asked if she could invite a little girl she was friendly with down the street to come and swim with her. Since they were 8 years old, they would just be tall enough to stand with their head above the water, so I said okay. When her friend arrived, she had her toddler sister, who was probably on the younger side of 2, definitely too small to stand with her head above the water. Well, I tell the friend and her little sister that she cannot get in the water unless her mum is here to watch her and sends her home with that message. They both come back and say, Mum said she's fine in the float and I can watch her. And I said, no, it's not fine. I do not think an 8-year-old is responsible enough to watch a toddler in a pool. And I'm not going to be the one babysitting her either.
Absolutely.
You need to tell your mum either she comes to watch her little sister or she is not getting in the pool.
Absolutely.
They both go home and both come back. At this point, I am livid and walk to their house with them and pound on the mother's door. No answer. I keep knocking and still no answer. Suddenly, the garage door starts to open with her mum in her car backing out quickly. I run in front of the car in the driveway. She gets out the car looking incredibly pissed off and asks me what my problem is. I tell her my problem is that I'm not your babysitter and that I'm definitely not going to be responsible for keeping an eye on her baby from drowning in my swimming pool in my property. She then proceeds to start baby talking her own daughters. I'm so sorry, babies. The mean lady isn't going to let you in her swimming pool. I'm so sorry, princesses. Of course, the toddlers burst into tears and then entitled mother screams at me, look what you've done. You've made her cry and ruined her day. Hope you are proud of yourself. The friend at this point is completely red in the face and mutters, I'm sorry, in embarrassment as she's climbing into the car.
That's it? What an absolute deranged story. So, first of all, oh my goodness, that mother, thank God that mother had a...
Did that make sense? Yeah. I was struggling to read that one.
Thank God that mum had an ounce of sense to be like, no, I am not being a lifeguard to your, like, toddler. Imagine sending your children, like 8 and 2, down to a bloody stranger's house to go play in their pool.
Stranger's
It's like she was like, I want my children to be very ill forever. Why would you do that?
First of all, can I say one thing? It's a little bit like, again, your kids aren't someone else's responsibility. Like, that toddler was not invited to the party. That toddler was nothing to do with this discussion. It was little Bonchi and Bonchetta.
Yeah.
Like, that was the agreement. You were backing out of your driveway in your car.
Yeah.
Where were you going?
Yeah, you were just going to leave your children with a stranger down the road.
Like, what? You haven't said anything to her. Like, were you just going to go out for the whole day and then suddenly come up at like 10 o'clock at night going, can I have my kids back?
Oh, sorry, she drowned.
Exactly.
Unhinged.
What were you doing? Where were you going?
Also, like, if something did go wrong, how would you be able to contact you?
Yeah,
no idea.
She had no idea that you were, like, she had no idea where you'd gone.
No.
Like, and clearly these mothers don't know each other.
Yeah.
Because there was no like, oh, I just rang her and asked her what was going on.
Yeah,
it was like, no, you tell your mum that's not happening. So they obviously weren't friends. So the idea that you would just leave your kid with some stranger, like a baby, but not even tell them that you're going out.
Mm-hmm. Well, the thing is also, like, a 2-year-old, although it is a toddler baby, isn't it, really? Like, can 2-year-olds even speak, like not properly?
They can say some things, but like they
don't have any comprehension.
Don't really understand what's going on still. Yeah.
So if you have 2 8-year-olds, like 8-year-olds are kind of like, you know, they're not sensible, but they're also not like completely
You can
incapable.
actually have a conversation with them and
they
understand what's going on.
Just yet. They're a little bit conscious, so to speak.
Yeah.
You could easily watch 2 8-year-olds splash about in a pool, especially if they can stand up and be like, and feel quite confident in your abilities, even if you aren't necessarily a lifeguard.
Yeah.
Put a toddler into that equation, and it's like, I would have no idea. Toddlers need help.
Toddlers need literally like 100% supervision. They
At all
can't.
times.
They like an 8-year-old can happily do things on the road and not have the necessary fear of death. But a little baby like 2 years old, you cannot leave them.
No,
because I'm just knowing from like watching my sister's kid grow up. Like, you look away for 2 seconds and they've like pushed the TV over. Or like they're
climbing out the window.
Yeah, exactly. Like they're so inquisitive about everything. They want to touch and feel and see everything. And like if you're putting a kid in a swimming pool.
The second part of the story is where they're at the house and then like the child bursts into tears and says, look what this evil mummy's doing to you. I know it's not very good and it's not a great example to be setting children, but I would be like, I would cut in that mother and be like, excuse me, no, these are your decisions. You've made your child cry here because you are an incapable
and
mother.
you've promised them that they can go swimming and not
incapable of being a functional mother. And I'm going to call CPS.
Yeah.
I'd have to threaten something like that because these people clearly have had nothing bad ever happens to these people. And that's how they can develop this nonsense attitude towards the rest of their lives, because everyone buckles. Everyone must buckle to their every whim and need. She could have easily turned that from, there's a stranger down the road who's looking after my kids, into, shall we have a play date for both kids and I'll be there with the toddler.
Yes.
Like, that could have been, and then we probably wouldn't have ever heard about it. It could be a lifelong friendship of the children. No.
But the fact that she would call her a bitch and stuff in front of her children.
Yeah.
It makes you think, what kind of language are they using in front of those children when no one's around?
Yeah. Yeah. Unhinged.
And kids are like sponges and they will just mimic anything you say.
And the fact that also at 8 years old, that child knew to turn around and say sorry whilst climbing into the car means that child at 8 years old already knows that of all these times that it's happened, that child is having a trauma response to this event by knowing that this behavior is wrong, but not being able to do anything about it.
Yeah, awful,
really
disgusting.
Sad, really, really sad.
So this story is called, now get this, kid finds, now finds is in quotation marks, finds a bike in my backyard. Mum goes berserk when I take it back. I'm a single parent. I have a beautiful girl that's turning 5 in August. The past year, I have been fighting with my ex that tried to keep the kid away from me. Lawyers aren't cheap, and being a single doesn't exactly help with my finances. A couple of months ago, I won the lawsuit and finally got to have my kid at home again. That's wonderful. For the past few weeks, she was saying that she wanted a bicycle, but still recovering from the lawsuit bills, I wasn't able to afford it. The past week, I got my summer bonus, which financially helped me with a good boost, so I was able to buy the bike. I enjoyed my time with her riding our bikes around, but then it was getting time for dinner, which I had to make. So we headed back to the home from the park and put the bikes in my backyard. We go inside and I start making dinner. After about 10 minutes, I spot a movement from the corner of my eye through the kitchen window. That's on the other side of my house. I see this kid, guessing around 6 or 7 years old, just casually strolling by with the brand new bike I just got today. My heart dropped and I ran to the front door, hoping I'd catch him before he rides away. I was lucky I did. I yanked the bike from his hands and freaked out at him, saying it was mine and he had no right just to walk into other people's backyards and take things.
I would beat it with the bike as well.
Exactly. I was pissed. I forced him to get the F off the property and set the bike inside the hallway by our living room. After comforting my little girl, who never saw me this mad, the poor thing, I returned to the kitchen to continue making dinner. 15 minutes later, the doorbell rings. It's the kid and her evil mother.
Oh, disgusting.
Entitled mother, you give the boy back the bike. He found it. It's his. Me. He found, with quotation marks, in my backyard. I got it for my kid today. You should try teaching your damn kid some manners and that he shouldn't trespass on other people's property and take their things. Entitled mother, don't tell me how to raise my kid. Give me the bike back or I'm calling the police. Me, laughs, call the damn police, and I slam the door in her face.
He should have called the police instantly.
He should have called the police himself,
also, can I just interject? I hate it when they say, don't teach me how to raise my child. It's like, sis, you aren't raising it. You're just letting it be feral in the garden.
Imagine hearing your child has stolen something from someone's backyard and being like,
he found it, find escapers.
By this point, my 4-year-old was crying her eyes out and I had to comfort her again because she was really thinking she was going to lose her brand new bike. Guess what? She actually did call the cops. I explained the situation and shown them the box the bike came in, along with the receipt. The police officer shrugs and apologizes for the inconvenience, assured me that I won't be bothered again. I let him out, closed the door, and with a smug smile on my face, I check the front window to see what's happening, and she goes into full-on tantrum mode. It ends up with her in handcuffs in the backseat of the police car.
Oh, good. Good. Yeah, she should have been arrested for wasting police time with that. That is insane.
Oh my God. Can you imagine? Your child has literally stolen something out of someone's backyard and you're saying, he found it.
It's mine.
Give it to him.
I'm gobsmacked. Gobsmacked.
And then you
he
call
was
the
buying
police.
it for me.
Exactly. It's very
it
that
was
energy.
For me.
I cannot believe. And she actually had the audacity to call the police as if they were going to be like,
but this is it. Like, how deluded, deranged, unhinged, delusional do you have to be like, I'm calling the police on my own child that stole something. What? You're going to prison. Like that. what is wrong with you people? How do you see the world in which you think that is the way that can operate?
Mad!
How did she think that was going to work at all? Also, why is your 6 or 7 year old child potentially just wandering around?
Yeah, why is your kid out by yourself?
I don't care how old the child is. If they are in my garden, they are being arrested by the police. If I have not allowed the child onto my property, it must be dealt with immediately.
Weird, very
into
strange,
the oven.
very strange.
But it's just one of those things that's if this child is stealing bikes at 6 or 7 years old,
and the mum's not doing anything about it, and being like, well, he found it. Like,
when they get to
what's
10
gonna
years
happen?
old, what's going to be the situation?
Yeah.
So this actually takes me back to a situation that I experienced when I lived in Brighton. I was friends with my good friend who used to live just a little bit over the hill and far away. No, over the hill. And there was this place called The Dip. If you've ever been to Brighton, you'll know of The Dip. And this child used to live in The Dip, and he was 12 years old.
The Dip.
Because it was just used to be a
The
dip.
Dip.
Every angle used to drive down into The Dip.
The Dip.
And there's a few shops in The Dip, and we'd always be like, let's go to The Dip. It's stupid.
Stop it!
It's so stupid. But there was a child who was 12 years old who was just arrested for stealing and crashing a car.
Oh, for God's sake.
And it's just this is the same sort of trajectory. It got an ASBO as well, I remember, because it was the first ASBO, the youngest ASBO in the country, for The Dip. But it's just one of those things where if you don't correct that behavior at 6 or 7 years
will
old,
spiral,
at 12 they're going to be stealing and crashing cars.
Yeah,
unhinged. So the idea
Dip.
that the parent is like, no, it's my little angel's bike he found.
Yeah.
Jesus has answered our prayers for a bicycle. No, sis, your child has
stole
stolen it from someone else. I have this one here, and this one here is titled, Karen Demands I Stop Watching My Movie on a Flight.
Oh,
Karen Demands. I mean, that should be a subreddit, shouldn't it? Karen Demands.
Yeah, that's one of its own Karen Demands.
Oh, maybe a title.
Yeah.
Karen demands we stop our podcast. Me and my mum are visiting family for the summer, so we had to fly. Karen and her son were seated behind me and my mum on the plane. Now, I love musicals. Highly unrelatable. I hate
musicals.
bear them.
Awful.
The idea of being like, and the people sing louder because everybody's here. Die. That was quite good, I think.
It was, yeah.
The one I'm currently obsessed with is the Sweeney Todd movie adaptation, because I finally got around to watching it and she loves it. Yeah. So, of course, I downloaded it for the flight. Now, I must admit, Sweeney Todd is not very, public, eating babies in the pies. I can't remember the lyrics, but it's basically that.
Relatable.
I was watching the movie, headphones on, enjoying myself. I had no idea that the Karen's entitled little crotch goblin was watching also behind the gap in the seats.
Oh my God, you already know what she's got. Okay.
When Sweeney makes his... spoiler alert. When Sweeney makes his first kill, of course, it's lots of blood. And so I hear this tiny little scream from the crotch goblin. Karen, of course, tends to her precious angel, demanding I turn off my movie because it scared my little baby.
Oh, shut up.
Yeah, she actually made the word baby longer.
Did she?
I know that. Everyone's met this woman with her baby. And she's like, my angel, my little miracle.
Princess.
Miracles are things that don't ever happen.
Yeah.
The idea that you've had a baby is not a miracle. I told her I wasn't going to do that. And why was her kid even snooping on my movie in the first place? It was her job to make sure her kid was occupied enough to where he didn't bother other people. I wasn't disturbing anyone. And I was minding my own business, so I wasn't going to change my movie on my phone to satisfy her bratty child. Meanwhile, the kid was yelling, "Make her change it, mummy!" over and over again. Neither of them were wearing their masks correctly either, and it was so annoying. The Karen, being a Karen, immediately calls a flight attendant over and tells her that I refused to stop watching my ungodly horror movie and was showing them to her kid. I rolled my eyes and the flight attendant asked me what happened. I told her I was just watching my movie when all of a sudden I noticed this kid was snooping on my phone from between the seats. She told the Karen that there was nothing she could do and suggested that she give her child an activity to do.
Exactly.
So he didn't see anything that he wasn't supposed to be seeing. Karen pouted and ended up giving her kid her phone. Everyone's had their seats kicked by a bratty kid behind them. Yeah. These bratty kids. Have you seen the photos where people have taken their shoes and socks off and they've put them between the seats?
Oh,
and
yes.
If there was a foot next to me, I don't care what time of the year it is, I'm sneezing on that foot.
Yeah, I'm stamping on it.
Coughing, sneezing, doing
The thing is,
disgusting.
stories like that don't surprise me as much. And I do believe this is true because I remember ages ago reading an article about a woman who was moaning about adults being at Disneyland.
Oh yeah, and she was like, we should skip the queue.
We should skip the queues because we have children and because we shouldn't have to wait because we've had to do the childbirth thing and we have kids and Disneyland isn't for adults. And it was this woman having a severe meltdown at like adults going to Disneyland, saying that it's just for children and adults there should be kicked out. They should have to wait longer for rides because we have children and we have to stand on our feet all day. And it was like, shut the...
Oh, she was going to say a racist.
Yes. No, but I was like, shut the hell up. But like, it's that. But hearing stories like that, when the parents like turn your movie off, it doesn't surprise me. I'm like, yes, that happened. Of course it happened.
It's one of these things where it's like, it's not a case of like child-free privilege, it's parent consequence. Like the consequences of your action of having a child means that your life is going to be difficult and you need to be stable enough to be able to deal with these consequences of having a child.
Yeah.
If that means you have to wait in queues, like Disneyland isn't the only place in the entire world you ever have to wait queues.
Yeah.
But the idea that, yes, waiting in queues is boring. Nobody's going to be like, you know what I'd like to do today? Go stand in a queue for hours.
Yeah,
but
also like,
love it.
I remember when people weren't allowed to smoke in clubs anymore and there was a massive uproar to begin with. I can't believe you're doing this to us.
I'm never shopping at BHS again.
It's like, but you choose to smoke.
Yeah.
Like you made this choice to do this thing that is detrimental to your health. I don't want to be part of that.
Yeah.
So you have to take your choice.
Yeah. Outside.
Yeah, exactly. So
I sort of agree with that. And this is completely off topic, but this is another like entitled story. I remember someone commenting on when the no smoking thing came in and they were like, yeah, but you wouldn't say this to like people who love a drink. And it's like, yeah, but if someone's like drinking themselves silly, that's not going to affect me unless they maybe turn violent or something. It's not going to affect me. If you're smoking in my face for like several hours whilst I'm near you, I could end up with a severe disease because of that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get a disease because somebody else is drinking.
Yeah. So this one's called "A Daughter Was 6 Hours Late to an Interview. Entitled Mother Yells at Me for Making Her Cry." A delightful title. So I'm a 20-year-old female and a dog groomer. Been one for almost 4 or 5 years. The big thing about dog grooming is the reputation, quality, and time management. Yesterday, we were expecting a girl to come in at 10 to try out as a dog groomer. She was a promising 23-year-old, worked as a groomer beforehand at another place, but she didn't show until 4:30 that day. No call, no nothing. She apparently had her hair appointment and friends from out of town come in, so they had their nails done instead. She asked if she could groom now. I said no, I don't think so. When she pressed, I said this, and I might have been a jerk for saying it, we don't want you anymore. There's no need to reschedule your tryout. I went back to get my last 2 dogs done. Apparently, she was crying, and that's when I started to feel bad. First of all, you should not be feeling bad.
No, yeah.
You cannot say you're going to be somewhere, like for a job interview, for like a trial, and just show up 6 hours late and be like,
it means you didn't want the job.
I'm going to carry on now because I was getting my nails and hair done.
Yeah, stupid.
Now, entitled Mum Time. Her mother came in the next morning demanding we give her a second chance. I told her, your daughter was 6.5 hours late. That's not something that works in dog grooming. In any not even just dog, but in any profession.
Any line of work.
Entitled Mum replies, she was with her friends. I thought someone your age would understand that. Me, not when there's a job interview. And she didn't call or anything. At this point, I was so ticked off and over it. I had 5 dogs to get done. She said, well, there's no reason to make her cry. I said I disagree and got back to work. Apparently, she stayed up there demanding we give her a second shot. As head dog groomer, I said it's not going to happen.
What joke?
She left eventually, saying her daughter was too good for us.
Oh.
First of all, she was 23 years old. Why is your mum fighting your battles?
Yeah, you should know better.
Grow up. I'm sorry, this is one of those moments where I was like, not just entitled mother, but entitled child. Like, first of all, the world doesn't revolve around you. You cannot go, I'm not going to my dog grooming trial because I want to go get my hair and nails done with my friends.
Yeah.
Like, what a ludicrous, like, that would
unhinged,
that would never, ever fly in any job.
The thing is, I am not like an advocate for lying, really, in any situation. I think eventually you get found out.
Yeah.
But in this situation, she could have said, this 23-year-old could have said, sorry, I've actually got a family emergency today. Is there any way in which we can reschedule for this week, this weekend, next week, tomorrow? I can come in earlier. I will do an extra couple of hours. If you're like, if your choice in action is going to put a business like on the back seat, so to speak, on the back foot because you've gone, I'm not coming in, and they're expecting you as like an extra pair of hands, even if you're just starting, you need to like offer a like meet in the middle somehow.
Exactly, yeah. Like,
unhinged.
This is just one of those children that clearly hasn't grown up, but also had never been told no.
But yeah, so I think actually this is a case of parents not raising her right.
Yeah, because how would you have that attitude where like you can show that you're so deluded in thinking that
it
was
doesn't
okay.
matter. Yeah.
Like that, yeah, and the fact that you would just openly admit, oh, so I was getting my hair and nails done, so I couldn't so you're going to get your nails done and then groom dogs.
Yeah, stupid. Absolutely unhinged.
And the fact that you got your mum to go in and be like, give her another chance, I'm never talking to bitch again. Like,
it's very that, isn't it?
Absolutely deranged, unhinged.
And the thing is, working in the beauty industry, as I have done for many, many, many years, I have met a lot of these girls that come in with an attitude and are just like, well, I am obviously, the one in charge here. It's like, no, you aren't.
No.
You are 22, 23 years old. You don't know anything yet. And I know you think that you do. And I was probably the exact same at your age. Actually, that's a lie. I would never have done that.
No.
Even at 16, with my first job at BHS, I knew not to do all that.
Well, the thing is, what you did is you walked in and killed them.
I did. Yeah, and they deserved it.
Yeah.
But you didn't hear me moaning, did you? No. Entitled mother thinks I should give my diabetic snacks to her daughter.
Oh, for God's sake.
Mm-hmm. So I'm a type 1 diabetic, and in the morning, I went for a bike ride. As I'm diabetic, I always bring snacks with me in case I get low energy or get hungry.
Fair enough.
I bring a juice box, a few glucose tablets, a couple of fruit bars, granola bars, just enough for me to be able to correct my blood sugar twice and have a small snack. As I was biking home, I passed someone sitting on the ground who looked like they were kind of distressed, so I pulled over to ask if they were okay. The guy was a little younger than me and told me he was a diabetic and showed me his medic alert necklace. Okay, hang on. This is taking a different turn, girl. He explained that he had gone low whilst biking, but forgot to refill the snacks in his bag when he had left, so he was trying to figure out what to do now. No one to bring him anything, but I didn't want to call an ambulance over this. I guess this is in America where like calling an ambulance
is
is
like $5,000.
$17,000.
Yeah.
I offered him my snacks and to sit with him a while we waited for it to go back up, explaining that I was also a diabetic. After I sat down with him and gave him the tablets, a woman came over and asked for my juice box for her daughter.
Shut up!
Shut up, you
Why is all these people just
woman.
asking strangers for like their things?
Stupid. The thing is, that's not asking, is it? She can be like, oh, never shopping at BHS again. I explained that I was giving it to him, what I had, because he was a diabetic and had low blood sugar, and I needed the rest to ensure that I get home safe because I'm also diabetic. She started to tell me that she and her daughter had been biking for a few hours and she was hungry and just wanted my juice box and a granola bar. She's not a tuck shop.
A granola. Imagine,
and my daughter Lily must have the granola bar.
Can you imagine?
Get in
like
the bin.
a small child just going, I really want the granola.
Granola.
Oh, shut up.
Shut up.
Go and have a chomp.
I asked her if her daughter was diabetic and she said no. So I apologized again and explained nicely that I need those for myself. The conversation went as follows. Entitled mother. So why did you give him some then? Me. Because he is diabetic and his blood sugar is very, very low. Do you know him? No, but as a diabetic, I know how dangerous it is and we could die. So you don't know him. The conversation continued like this, and she was asking if I cared that I didn't know him, until the guy rechecked his blood sugar and it was back up to 3.5. I'm assuming that that's like safe
must
levels.
Be normal, yeah.
As this was still a little low for both of us to feel comfortable. Oh, maybe not.
Oh, maybe not.
I grabbed my juice and gave it to him, and this is when the entitled mother tried to grab it out of my hands, saying that if his blood sugar was still low, I should just call an ambulance and then I could give my snacks to her daughter. At this point, I was honestly kind of pissed off. Kind of. I would
have been shouting at this woman.
They would have been like, woman found bludgeoned. They would have been like,
woman 80 mugged
herself. And told her to F off that as a mum, she should have thought to bring snacks for her daughter.
Exactly.
Again, same thing.
It's your child is your problem, no one else's problem.
She then went red in the face, called me a bitch, and stormed off back to her daughter. The guy's levels went back up and we parted ways, and I started to bike away. I heard the mum shout after me, calling me a bitch again. Other people, this is deranged. This is absolutely deranged. Imagine in any other situation, let's just say you have pancreatic cancer, you have to have a very specific diet that doesn't cause inflammation, you have special juices, and you're out just like experiencing a bit of nature, and some ratty woman and her ratty child comes up and is like, but give me the carrot juice. And you're like, I will die if I don't have this. No, I don't care. My daughter's hungry. It's like, your daughter can literally eat soil for all I care. Eat the soil. You and your sniveling daughter. Oh, I hate it. Oh, it drives anyone. There's something so visceral. It does something to me, entitled parents. I don't know what it's because I've been on the receiving end of like this so many times. I'm like, how can you have no self-awareness if you're going biking in the bloody woods that you need to bring snacks for your child?
It's
how do you,
ludicrous.
like, you are not only
Insane.
torturing your child, you are torturing you and the public at the same time.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, it drives me loopy.
The thing is, like,
in the bin.
it makes me think of so many things when I worked at Morrison's. When I used to work in a supermarket, we used to like, there were times when we have like promotions where like if you spent £10, you would get like football stickers.
Yeah.
And the amount like for like kids and stuff, the amount of parents that would come in and be like, can we have a packet of stickers? I'm like, we haven't spent £10. Oh yeah, but my kid wants it.
Like, oh, everybody ignore the laws and the rules of the world. The child wants something.
Like, I don't care if your child wants the football stickers. I cannot give them to you because you've not spent £10.
Exactly. I would actually like to put you in a boiling vat of acid, but I can't do that, sadly.
But it's actually
I haven't spent £10.
I don't. No acid for you.
No.
Like, it's the idea of like, because your child wants like, therefore like you should like, you could like fuck,
Everybody, yeah. Oh. Entitled dad leaves me with his children on a plane. Are you going to strap in and strap on, girls?
Okie dokie.
So this happened last weekend. I was flying out of JFK Airport in New York, aka one of the worst airports in the US. When I was in the TSA line, I was surrounded by two families. A mum and her son were behind me, and two parents with two boys in front of me. The mum in front of me was tired, like she was sitting on a big carry-on bag while her husband wheeled about her tired. Wheeled her about tired? I was wheeled her about? Oh,
Imagine being like, I'm tired, I'm going to sit on this, pull me around.
I'm going to swoon on my fainting couch for the next 8 years. Dad was so focused on mum not falling off the suitcase that the boys were just darting around and trying to play with the boy behind me as well. Look after your families.
Look after your family.
You don't know. Snatched immediately, especially in an airport, gone forever. It's 6:30 a.m. and I am on 2 hours of sleep, so the world is just too much for me.
No.
But I also worked at a special needs preschool for 2 years prior to becoming a therapist, so I know how to wrangle kids on minimal sleep. Okay, so this person is qualified. I go into crowd control mode, asking the boys about their interests and reminding them that we have to be quiet to talk about them. I found out that the brothers are called Eric and Daniel, and Eric is 9 and Daniel is 6. They're really excited about going on a plane. The boys start having a quiet conversation about Minecraft. That's dark. The mum behind me thanks me, and we actually have a nice chat about me previously working in the school and how much fun I had. An hour and a half later, I'm boarding my plane and I see the tired mum from 5 rows back where I was seated. She's at a window seat and she's already passed out. Okay. I sit, and about 5 minutes later, I see the dad and two boys coming on the plane. The first kid, Daniel, sits next to me, and Dad pauses for a moment, just staring at me. After a moment, I'm just like, is there a problem? Is something wrong? Is something on my face?
Something on
my face? Yes. I plop you not. This man proceeds to take the boarding pass out of his son's hand, swap it with his, and tells him to sit next to me. He then bolts to the row with his wife in. Once the disbelief wears off, both the boys start asking me questions about the plane and the snacks and the TV mounted in front of them.
Wait, so I'm confused. So he was like, I want to sit with my wife. So you, the kid who's being supervised by the wife, swap with me.
So what I reckon is they had 4 seats, and the wife and one child, and the father and another child sat like in two different rows.
Yes.
And then he switched his ticket with the other child so that the two children can sit together with this stranger. Say goodbye to your children. I am so exhausted that I don't even fight it. I show the older one how to turn on the TV in the seat in front of him and tell them, Miss Mindful is really sleepy, like your mum, so I'm going to take a nap. Both of them tell me to have a nap, and I pass out. I wake up 2 hours later to my tray down with a mini water bottle and a bag of cookies on it. Apparently, my new friends thought I would want a snack when I woke up. These two children. I mean, that's sweet.
That's quite sweet.
Also,
yeah.
Stop it. 30 minutes before we land, there's a commotion behind us and what sounds like running. All of a sudden, formerly asleep mum is very much awake and looking over both kids to make sure they're all right. Both of them mention how they have been watching Moana and they're perfectly fine. Mum then shoots her husband the neutral face of displeasure. I think we thought it was like... When we got off the plane, Mum follows me to the bathroom to apologise. Her husband was supposed to sit with the younger boy whilst the older one sat with her. That's literally what I said earlier. She freaked out when she woke up and saw her husband and her in her drowsy state, and she thought that her husband forgot the children back at the airport.
Oh my God.
Apparently the husband thought it was a good idea to leave them with me because he heard me talking about working at a school and figured they'd be fine.
That's so
deranged. So the mum apologised, and then we got out of the bathroom, and she made her husband apologise for abandoning our children with a stranger. Exactly what happened.
Yes.
The whole walk out of the pickup area, she was reminding her children about stranger danger and how they need to be careful. Daniel, the child, gave me a paper heart he folded out of a New York City brochure, so now I have the best friend now, lol. Now that is sweet, but also...
First of all,
incredibly dangerous.
These children sound like they're actually quite well behaved compared to everything. So we have to give props to that.
Yeah.
And I think they couldn't have been causing too much of a commotion.
Yeah.
But the actual reality of what just happened is because it's also, you're not just thinking the person sitting next to you. There's also someone to the other, like if they're on the aisle seat, there's someone to their right as well as left. I know we were just laughing there, but this actual situation of like leaving your kids with a stranger just because he said, I worked in a school. You don't know why he left that school. Like, you could have been like, I no longer work in the school because I'm a registered like S offender. Yeah, exactly.
And all I do is snatch children. Like, but
children.
It's so stupid that like adults, some of these like parents are literally just like, well, I'm tired, so I'm going to offload my child onto someone awake.
Yeah.
That's unacceptable. The mother had the correct reaction of being like, what's happening?
I'm glad,
my baby?
I'm glad that like this was a slightly different situation than we spoke about already, because it was like the mother recognized the wrong, and like at first I thought the mother was going to wake up being like, why were you not watching my child?
Yeah, I also kind of felt like it was going that way. This almost feels more like the case of stupid father rather than an entitled parent, so to speak. Yeah. But imagine if this person was not kind and not nice. Imagine if this person was a nefarious man and was just like, oh, you're never going to see your children again.
Yeah.
Never.
But I think sometimes it's like we keep forgetting that there are other people around them at the same time, like who could have quite easily been talking to them or did anything, like watching the situation and saw that like,
yeah, but what if...
Because we don't know how far apart they were.
No, but this is just it. Imagine if, like, they're running around, he moves over here, and he's just like, oh, should we go to the bathroom? Come on. And then someone looks at them and goes, oh, what a lovely father and child, even though they're not related at all. Into the bathroom, gone forever.
Yeah.
And this happens constantly at airports, constantly. We hear stories about it all the time.
So this one is titled, Entitled Parent, Leave Everything You Have to Our Children.
Oh, disgusting. No.
I'm 39, successful and quite well off. My siblings sadly are not. My brother, 42, has 3 children. My sister, 35, also has 3, with one on the way in May. My younger sister, 28, is married and pregnant, but she has nothing to do with the events in this post. We were raised to believe that money doesn't matter and all you need to be happy is a marriage and lots of kids to live a happy life. Being poor and having Being poor and having lots of kids was somehow glorified, maybe because it's the way our parents lived and wanted to convince themselves they didn't F up. Fortunately for me, I didn't buy into that nonsense. I always knew I never wanted children. I focused on my career and achieved success. Today, I have my own house, wonderful pets, and loving boyfriend. My family, however, seems to think that there's something wrong with my lifestyle. My parents have often commented that my 5-bedroom house is empty without any kids running around.
That's the point.
My siblings often tell me I'm selfish for not having kids and actually enjoying my life.
How is that selfish to recognise that you shouldn't bring a child into this world?
Literally so stupid. There are enough kids in the world. However, their disdain for my selfish lifestyle doesn't stop with them begging for money. My brother and sister have called me asking me to help pay their bills. Now, if it's something serious like clothes or school supplies for their kids, I'm willing to pitch in, but I always refuse when they ask... I always refuse... Sorry, I just read it ahead slightly and I can't believe this is the thing. I always refuse when I'm asked to pay for trips to amusement parks, etc. Can you imagine?
Now that is entitled. That is delusion.
I also paid my parents to stay in a high-end assisted living facility. They're my parents and I've always felt like I owed them that, at least this much. But I have moved them to a less luxury facility because of something horrible they did.
Oh.
There's no explanation as to what they did. What did they do in this facility?
Oh my goodness.
Jesus.
Because of something they did.
Yeah.
Oh God. Espionage.
Oh dear. However, I couldn't help but feeling salted when they sang praises for my siblings for breeding and following their footsteps and how my parents wish I had done the same. As if among all their kids, I'm the biggest disappointment. For this reason, I've detached myself from them. I only call or visit to check up with them and and don't let them be part of my life, which is absolutely fair.
Yeah, that's fair.
The other day, I got a call from my sister asking if her husband, my brother, and his wife could come over. I said, okay. They asked me to leave my fortune to their kids in equal portions. And if I did, they would stop asking me for financial help. You don't have kids, so you're not going to leave it to anyone, are you? Asked my brother. I told them I was going to leave my money to charities that I owe and that I don't owe them But when they went on, they kept saying, you're selfish on a tirade. I told them to get lost. The next morning, I got a call from my dad telling me they were disappointed in me. I simply hung up. The one family member who has stood by me is my younger sister. She actually has her shit together, and I could not be more proud of her. That makes sense again. Sorry, I stumbled a bit.
It did make sense. Wow. Okay. Let's tackle this situation, shall we? First of all, how dare you? How dare you? Every single person, how dare you? But very good on this woman for being like, you've been really mean to me, actually. I'm putting you in a less luxury home. So the audacity that they phone her and saying, it's very disappointing. You should say, yeah, you will be when you haven't got a house. I'm not paying anymore.
So this kind of rings quite hard with me because, like, I am not wealthy. That's not what I'm saying it rings hard with me. But I don't have anything to do with my family members.
Well,
I have my sister, and we are like best friends. I love my sister. I adore her. She was basically my mum because my mum was so incapable. So me and my sister are very close. But like the rest of my family, I basically don't have anything to do with. And obviously not for these same situations, but the idea that like any of them would ever come to me
and be like,
well, because you don't have children, you should leave all your money to us and my children.
And how about you think about bringing extra children into this world if you can't afford them?
Yeah, this is the thing. This story didn't say like they had kids and they were fine, and then like, you know, say the pandemic hit and they lost all their jobs and it was really hard for them to pay things. That is a very different situation than just having children when you cannot afford them. Like if you can't afford children, don't have them.
And isn't it always funny as well that when people ever are in this situation, it's always, but we're family, when they're doing something really crappy, like really, we're family. All right, well, where was that when I was like dying in a K-hole and needed help? And you're like, where were you then? Yeah. Nowhere to be seen, you sniveling gremlin. I have very strong emotions towards this situation. And like, just because like your sibling, if they're doing wonderful and amazing, they have zero entitlement to your money or their money. Like the fact that she was already giving them money for like bills now and then, or like buying their kids clothes and stuff is more than they should even have to do. Like they shouldn't have to pay for your children. No, exactly. If you
like,
can't afford it, you can't
to have children. You did.
Yeah.
Like
it rings true for absolutely everything. As much as it's nice to be like, you know, all that matters in life is a big family, lots of kids giggling at the table. If you can't afford the table they're at, think about the pain that you are inflicting on your children.
It's funny that this person said like, they were always brought up to believe that money doesn't matter, and as long as you had children, lots of family, it was fine. Yet all of a sudden they're like, give us all your money.
Like, yeah, money. It only matters now that you've got lots and we've got none.
Honestly, this idea, I'm sorry, like I don't care.
It's
like
not
I don't.
The world we live in.
I'm sorry. Like if my sister ever said to me, like, I'm really struggling, is there any point? I'd be like, of course. Like I love you. Like you have done so much for me in my life. They clearly don't have a good relationship at all.
This is the problem I have when people are like, well, it's family. I'm like, you haven't built a community. I don't care. I don't care that you're struggling because you didn't care about me.
Yeah, like why? Like why do you think that you have any entitlement to anything that person's owed when you literally haven't given a shit about them?
No,
and,
exactly.
The parents constantly slag you off saying that you're a failure and you're a disappointment to them.
Whilst you're paying for their accommodation.
Like you're literally paying for their accommodation and you're
wouldn't have it.
Can you imagine? I could imagine, like, say we were going somewhere and we I don't know, we went to a restaurant and you were buying me all this food and we having a lovely time, and then I was like, she doesn't give a shit about me.
Yeah, I'd be like, excuse me.
She hates. I can't believe she is such a selfish cow. When she spent hundreds of pounds on me.
But what I would do in this situation is be like, have another Long Island iced tea. Have another one. Let's go. Let's do an Instagram live. So, how do you think about the royal family? I would just totally set up someone like that.
It's like
unhinged. Like you don't bite the hand that feeds you. But also, like, respect and community is the default here. Again, if you've done something to F that up, then that's on you, sis.
It goes back to what we said a little while ago about, like, you cannot make your children clones of you. They have to make their own decisions. You cannot force them to do things they don't want to do. Because I can't remember exactly what video we said this in, but we made a comment about like how parents treat their kids awfully and then get confused why they don't talk to them anymore. I think it was in the Emma household. Yeah. And it's this kind of thing, like you have slagged off your daughter for years, said she's a disappointment, and then going, why won't she give us things? Why isn't she talking to me?
See me?
Like, what do you expect?
In order for people to like you, you have to be likable.
Yeah.
Why is this concept so difficult for some people?
I think one of the most toxic things ever said is blood is thicker than water.
Oh, it's a lie.
Literally,
lie.
I'm sorry. Like,
I think that relationships are like a bucket, and you put a little thing in the bucket. Let's say you're on the beach and you've got your little buckets, and the bucket is the relationship that you have with the other person that's there on the beach with you. And you put a little stone in the bucket, being like, "Oh, I like this thing about you," and we've talked about it. And then the other person is like, "I also like this thing," and they put something in the bucket. And then if one of you just takes everything out of the bucket and goes, "Where's the rest? I will put some more in my bucket."
Yeah,
that's the problem, and that is exactly what is happening here. That was a very off the cuff.
It was. Yeah.
It did mean something at one point in my life.
I just want to say to anyone who might be struggling with like family members, just because someone is your family member, if they're a toxic person, they do not need to be in your life. Do not get manipulated and all that shit by like and used and manipulated by older people saying like you have to be us because I'm your mum, you have to be us because I'm your father,
respect
whatever.
Your elders, like respect me.
That is one of the most manipulative things that a toxic parent can do, to be like, well, I'm your mother, I'm your father, I birthed you, therefore you owe me. You owe them shit. They made the choice to have you, and they cannot then in the future go, well, I did this, therefore it doesn't matter how horrible I am to you, it doesn't matter how abusive or emotionally abusive to you, or like you have to owe me. No. Like, cut them out of your life. Like, you do not need toxic people in your life. It doesn't matter who they are, what relation they are to you. Do not keep toxic people in your life.
Absolutely.
The same way that, like, if I was constantly horrible to Luxeria, I could not expect her to stay in my life.
And be like, hello, time for our podcast.
Exactly, like this just wouldn't happen.
It's hateful, isn't it?
It's like eventually there is a breaking point, and you have to break it off before it gets to a stage where you are being... to a stage where it's
burn that bridge, sis, and never look back.
Emotionally abusive, like absolutely unacceptable, disgusting, literally never okay. So get out of that situation.
Get out. I've got gates. This one is titled, "That's my llama balloon, bitch."
That was
quite the title.
That was a title.
Yeah. Could you imagine like naming a video that? I'd be like, no one would ever find it. It's the most...
YouTube's like, hide.
No. Niche llama balloons. No.
Restricted.
Yeah. My husband and I just had a baby. It's my birthday this weekend and we're both exhausted. So we're keeping things basic. But my husband insisted I have at least a birthday balloon. Usually we decorate a little one for each other's birthday, but this year we're foregoing that. That's quite a nice little idea, just to decorate a little balloon for each other. So we go to the local card shop and I choose a helium balloon in the shape of a llama.
That's cute.
It is, isn't it? We tie it to our baby's pram and we go outside, where we encounter a couple with their child, maybe 4 or 5 years old, and the child is holding a plain pink balloon. The child sees my balloon and wants it.
For God's sake.
She tries to grab it but can't reach the pram's handles. The mother then insists we switch balloons as her kid clearly wants it and my baby is too young for a balloon. I said, it's my birthday balloon. And the mother said, even better, you won't mind giving it to me and my child. As she grabs the string and moves to untie it, my husband had enough, pushed the mother away, and deadpan says, "That's my llama balloon, bitch." The end. Well, that was quite a little journey, wasn't it? But these mothers are like that. They're like, well, you don't need all that. You don't need that, mummy. In the bin. It's very the woman at Disney.
It's very the woman at Disney who, my child wants it, therefore give it to her. How about fuck off?
Yeah. I mean, I know that in some cases, like, parents that have maybe really struggled to, like, conceive and have children really, really think and praise and, like, think so highly of their offspring because, obviously, it was difficult to get. That sounds like a weird thing. It sounds like... But it's like, just because that's the case, you can't come to strangers and demand things from them.
I don't think entitlement. I mean, that is like literally the perfect definition of entitled parent.
Entitled, absolutely entitled. I would be like, what? How would you react in that situation? I'd be like, I'm gonna cut up your child's balloon and say this is the real world. Capitalism.
It's insane.
Stab.
Exactly. To think that you could just take someone else's stuff because your child has decided it wants it, like.
I think I'd say something awful, be like, that child doesn't even look like you. No. Did you steal that child? Like, I would just, set up like a human trafficking storyline.
There's little Chantel there going,
Chantel. Siobhan. Little Siobhan.
I can't. Oh my God.
Yeah, hateful.
Unhinged. So guys, I really hope you've enjoyed this episode.
Enjoy is a strong word.
Yeah, we got very heated at multiple points of this. This was.
I'm like sweating. I'm like.
This was a lot. I wasn't expecting when we got into this. Because I thought Am I the Arsehole was going to be more intense.
No, this is the most intense one. This has produced some emotions in me that I clearly haven't dealt with.
I was expecting this one to be less intense, but oh my gosh.
No, this was a lot. I don't really want to do a part 2, if I'm honest. Not yet, anyway. Maybe next year.
Well, we'll see how this one does. If it doesn't do very well, then we can't do part 2.
What do you mean, the entitled parents one? That didn't happen. No, revisionist history.
So guys, thank you so much for watching and listening.
Thank you.
Of course, if you are listening on SoundCloud, there is also a video option of this video, so you can check out our YouTube channel. So, of course, if you are listening to this on SoundCloud or iTunes or Spotify, there is a video version over on my YouTube channel.
Video.
Yes, so come over to my YouTube channel. You can watch the video itself. So, wow, thank you for coming, Luxeria.
Oh.
It's been fun.
Yes. Fun isn't the word. It's been something.
It's been something. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Make sure you leave a nice review for us. Give it a like. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any videos and podcast episodes that might come up.
Also, can I just say, what do you guys think about Gag of the Millennial merch?
Oh, yes.
What do you think?
Yes, we need to do that. Yeah.
Would you be interested in being like, Gag? Would you be interested, my love? Yes, let me know.
We really need to make that. It'll be fun. Anyway, guys, we'll see you soon.
Yes.
Thanks, bye.
Bye.